You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to get interviewed.
I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And I got a better mic.
Okay. What is so?
Try to tell the people that, you know.
We're not afraid if you are.
What's up, bro?
Cody.
Angel.
Is there somewhere in the back like we could bring stuff into? Or
Yeah, we could. I can show you. We can pull around back there. And then, what do you have? I can bring the chairs back if you have the chairs.
Yeah, we could just do like 2 chairs. It should be fine.
And then, so I'll show you how to pull around. Grab those chairs. This is Ben, the owner. If you guys want to say hi, he's sitting right here.
Oh, careful.
But it's not really like UFC center or anything or MMA center.
Not fighting combat.
Yeah, no, it's not. So it's kind of like a clash of 2 worlds, you know.
Do you know Tristan Jazz?
Yeah.
He's doing a podcast. So everybody's different.
Yeah, right.
And he's the same thing. He has basketball players and all sorts, but he did one with me too. It's the same concept here, like different stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate Cody giving us a chance and you giving us a chance to do it here.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. You get the backdrop and stuff like that. So it's cool, man.
Get the full experience and whatnot.
Good interview.
All right, man. Well, nice meeting you.
Right on, guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Yeah, if you post stuff, do you use like Instagram or anything?
Yeah, we're on Instagram.
Just tag me. I'll try to share it. Or
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Sounds good. Thank you.
It's where the magic happens, or what?
Half of it, yeah. This is so actually we're getting a new gym. Ben just bought a new gym. Last week he actually closed on it, so we gotta wait obviously for everybody to get out of there. And then they're talking like October 1st possibly having the grand opening, but it's pretty much twice this size. We have this room, that room, and in the new gym it's this much space, but plus like another room like about this big, a little bit bigger. And then another space we're gonna have like locker room, shower. It's gonna be a lot bigger, more legit.
If I told you to like kick me, bro, could you do it without breaking my leg?
Yeah. It's gonna hurt regardless.
Yeah, like I want it to hurt, but I don't want it to I don't want my leg to break, you know?
It's gonna hurt for me to make it look like somewhat, you know, like I put some into it. Because obviously if I just touch your leg, they're gonna know, but I can put a hip into it. It's gonna hurt, but yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Just like try to hurt, you'll be fine. I'm not gonna.
As long as my ACL or something's still intact after.
Usually we kick like right above the knee, but I'll kick a little bit higher so it's more on your thigh. Because like that's where it really hurts. Like that's like the dead spot, you know. Do you care what side?
No, it doesn't really matter. You're a good side.
You're a good
I
son.
got a good side.
All right, vamos. Welcome to another episode of Hear Me and Beer Me. We're here at Rothwell MMA in Kenosha. I'm joined by a very special guest today. You gotta hear him. You gotta beer him. Cody, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Is this your first podcast? I saw you did a couple over Zoom and stuff.
Yeah.
Is this kind of the first one you do in person?
Yeah. Most of them, obviously, like the guys that reach out or, don't live nearby kind of thing. So this is my first, in-person podcast. I've done some longer interviews in person, but actual podcasts, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll kind of, preface this by, I guess, introducing who you are and what you do. But most of the people, by the time they're watching this, they'll kind of have an idea of what you do. So I guess I'll just go through some of your accolades, all right? Yeah. So you've got an 8-1 professional record now. Congrats on that. You're on a 6-match win streak right now.
6-fight win streak, yeah.
6-fight win streak. Those are the things that when I was coming over here, I was thinking practice, but I'm no, he's training. Those are the things you gotta separate from soccer, basketball, stuff like that. It's no, it's different terms, for different things. So obviously I'm a very casual UFC, MMA, battle sports kind of fan, right? We were just talking about it, about how when there's a big fight or something, that's when I'll tune in, So this is kind of a clash of 2 worlds, what I've got going on, what you have going on. So I kind of want to bring it back to the beginning of all this, of the code breaker, Cody Linne, and stuff like that. How is it that you got your foot in the door here? You started here, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I started originally here. So I really started was like when I was maybe around 8, 9.
Mm.
I was really into WWE. Like that was me, my brother, my neighbor were really into that. So we watched you like go in my neighbor's basement. We had like stuffed animals, wrestle them, try all the moves. That was kind of my thing. And then one day my dad was watching UFC, and like I didn't know anything about it. Obviously, I'm like maybe 10 at this age, maybe 11. And then, so he's like, come watch this with me. This is real. So I sit down and watch it, like, okay, what's this about? And I'm pretty sure it was Joe Lozon. If you guys know Joe Lozon, it's like every fight he's in, it's bloody, it's gory, And I was watching, like, there's no way this is real, all right? So then I kind of started getting into it a little bit. And then I was like, I want to try this. And, like, the background story kind of that is why I want to try it is, like, I was never, like, a confident kid, growing up. I was, like, not necessarily bullied, but, like, every time I would, like, walk, through the hallways at school. I never like, be confident to talk to people or say things. And that kind of like, I wanted to feel safe in my own body.
Okay.
So then I reached out to my dad, like, yo, like UFC, that's, you learn how to fight, you're pretty confident is what I was thinking in my head. So I told him I want to try it. We didn't know anything about it besides what we've seen on TV. So we did some research. We looked it up. We found this gym. We looked up Ben Rothwell. We didn't know who that was originally. We looked him up like on like Wikipedia or whatever, and then seen like, oh, he's in UFC, like, that's pretty legit. So from that point on, it was like, all right, we want to try this gym. We went there. We signed up. Originally, I wanted to do kickboxing, but at the point when I came, there was no kids kickboxing. So I was like, all right, well, then I guess I'll try this thing called jiu-jitsu. I didn't really know much about that either.
Right.
Into the sport. Because like when you first see the sport, you see the striking. Like, oh, I want to do the kickboxing. I want to do the striking. That's the cool part.
Right.
So then I still want to do it. So I signed up for jiu-jitsu, came the next day. And then honestly, jiu-jitsu, like that's what I fell in love with over like anything, wrestling, kickboxing. And that's kind of where it all started, like just a kid kind of trying to find himself, like I found myself here, grew up here from 12 until now, and it's really all I know at this point.
That's awesome. I mean, and that reminds me of a story that Canelo tells. I know it's different sports, but both combat. He was kind of the same way. He said that he wouldn't say bullied, but was kind of like not confident in himself. And then he fell in love with boxing, obviously, and you kind of same trajectory, But I'm more amazed, kind of, I think, by you said your dad was like very encouraging of it, like, yeah, sure, do it. A lot of parents are kind of like, no, like that's dangerous. Like, they're opposed to the fact of like this can actually be something that, in a way, I guess, even helped you in a sense. And I think that's amazing that they backed you, because I kind of wanted to ask how your parents felt about you doing this, something that's, I guess, out of the ordinary,
Yeah, I tried other sports. Like I tried like t-ball and even basketball. And like basketball, I did one practice and the coach was like, oh, you're pretty good. And I was like, yeah. And the next day or a couple days later, like we had the first game. Like we're playing a game already. And as a kid, I was so nervous. I was crying. I didn't even go through with it. And I quit basketball right then and there. And then for whatever reason, when I stepped in here, like my dad, I think he just wanted me to commit to something, at that age, just find something I like. And then once he's seen how serious I was about it, it was like he backed, and my mom both just backed me 100%. Like there was days where they both would just sit here and watch me practice, like 3-4 hour days, just sit in those chairs out there and just watch me train. I was like, they've done a lot. They definitely helped me get to this point, and I couldn't thank them enough, to be honest.
No, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, and that's crazy that you didn't feel like you felt nervous. You felt like not yourself doing all those things, but this was where you felt most comfortable, because I think everyone is the opposite, stepping into here, combat sports. And I'd almost say, like, I'm going to give myself as an example, right? So soccer is a team sport. So it's always like the spotlight's not on you. That's kind of how I viewed it. So it was, I think, easier for me to as most people. I think it's easier for them to transition to a team sport because, like I said, the spotlight's not always on them. Whereas obviously you started doing jiu-jitsu, so it wasn't really, competition yet in a sense, but that's something that down the road becomes that. So it's crazy to me that you felt more comfortable doing something like this, whereas, doing something.
It was a weird click, I guess. When I got here, I started learning, and for a reason, like everything, like school for me, all that, it was hard for me to focus. I was never good at school. You know, like I got through it. I did what I had to do. But then when I got here, I was always excited. You know, I woke up, I'm like, I get to train today. You know, that's what I was excited to do. I was excited to learn because, like, for me, the martial arts, like, one movement in your body this way or that way can change everything. You know, like that. That's crazy to me, and I just want to keep learning and figuring this sport out. And like, it is a team sport when you're training, right? And then when you go in there, it's still a team leading up. And then when you get in the cage, yes, it's by yourself or even on the mat for like a grappling competition. But what I always say is, like, if I win, we all win. If I lose, I lose. You know, I put the weight on me because, like, it's not their fault. I should have done better, you know? But at the same time, when I win, it was everybody behind me because, like, if it was just me in this room, I'm not getting anywhere. You know?
Exactly.
So
right.
It's still a team sport. When you get in there, yeah, it's kind of individualized, but at the same time, you're still with your team because you need them there for the fight or for the competition. So
leading up to the fight, prepping you, stuff like that. You know, that's I like that you said that, honestly, because that is true. You know, leading up to it is all team, and if your weakest link, you know, is there, it can mess up, you know, whatever. If whoever you have training you didn't really prepare you the way that you had to for that specific fight, it can go to shit. So kind of while you're on the topic of, like, you were saying either you win or you lose, like, you put it on you. Let's go to, like, something that you've done, which is obviously your record of 8-1. I kind of want to start with the very first fight. So obviously you were doing amateur stuff before, then you finally you go pro. Your first fight is a win. Your second fight is a win. Your third fight is a loss. Okay, so that third fight I think is very, I want to say, an important stepping stone, because you probably got out of that fight and learned more than you did before the first two fights that you won. Walk us back through how you felt just fresh off a loss, you know?
So those first two fights were just like, they were tough fights. My grappling was so high level, and there just wasn't that I won the fight, right? And then I was going into my third fight feeling confident, you know, like, I beat those guys, I can beat this guy, you know, just kind of like that high, you know, and it's like, I thought in the back of my head I was doing everything right, you know, because it's all experience at the end of the day. I thought I was doing everything right. And then when I took that loss, I really sat back. So it was weird. I've taken losses as an amateur, but one was a decision when I was 18 versus a guy that had like 15 fights, and, you know, he was like 30 something. You know,
so it was obvious they were going to go with.
I rubbed it off. You know? Okay. It was like, and then the other one, I broke my collarbone. So it's like.
During the fight?
During the fight. Oh, wow. I broke my collarbone. So it's like, it was a loss still, but it's like, can it really be a loss? You know, so it was easy for the kid to get over those ones. But the one as a professional, like, I trained for, I thought I was going to win. I took that loss. After that loss, I took 6 months off of no fights, like, not even thinking about fighting. Me and Ben, my coach you just met, we readjusted everything. Kind of went back to the drawing board and got way more strict with everything we were doing from that point on. So at that fight, I was 134, like 134 pounds walking around. And now I took that 6 months to kind of get stronger, build muscle mass. Now after fights, I'm at like 150, you know, so I put on that muscle mass. But also I add nutritionists, all of that. I started training at VFS in Chicago, which had a whole bunch of UFC guys, all of that, and kind of just rerouted everything that I was doing. And that loss is so important because without that, my mindset and everything would have changed. That loss, I want to get that win back when I fight that guy that lost too. But I almost thank him at the same time, because if I didn't take that loss, who knows where I would have been right now. Like, I was eventually going to take the loss. You know, at what point, though? So taking it early on helped project my career, and now I am where I am. I always think, like, everything happens for a reason. You know, people say that. I really, truly believe in that, because now I'm APFC champion. You know, if I would have won that fight, you know, what would have happened then? So I think that loss is meant to happen, and now it brought me to who I am and where I am today.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was a very pivotal moment, obviously, in your career. And I think another pivotal moment, and I think you'd agree with me, is the fight that you had with Danny that kind of put you, or gave you the chance, right, to compete for the title. How, I mean, I don't know, right? So I guess everyone's preparation is different. But do you feel, like, obviously I feel like everyone has to feel some type of nerves, and it's whether, like, they're able to fight those off or stay there. Like, was that, you would say, one of the more nervous fights that you've had, I mean, maybe going into, because maybe you were in your head like, I think I have to win this one to really have a shot, and you were fresh off like probably a win, but a loss previously. So then, yeah, so then those kind of, I guess, thoughts, those little demons in your head start kind of rolling. How were you able to kind of put those to the side and be like, I just got to focus on what I got to do?
Yeah, so where I get my confidence from is my training, right? So I'm always training 2, 3, sometimes four times a day. It all depends, but like the tougher the opponent, I feel like the more I train, which obviously can't be good all the time because my coach always has something like, all right, we're overtraining. You know?
Yeah, you can't like over prepare sometimes.
Because like I feel that's where my nerves kind of get me, and like I just train. I want to be the best I can be. You know, I want to make sure I'm gonna win. Because like in my eyes, like I feel like God's watching over and He's watching me and my opponent, right? And it's like whoever trains harder and trains more is gonna win the fight. That's kind of always in the back of my head, you know. So I always think to myself, I have to train harder. I have to do this. You know, I don't want to wake up in the morning and do this, but I have to because if I don't, he's one step ahead of me, kind of thing. But with that fight in general, I knew Danny was tough. Like he's a really tough fighter. He's well rounded. It wasn't. So I was on a 3-fight win streak at that point. So my confidence was pretty high. I won an LFA. I won 2 other fights. So like I was confident, but I knew he was tough. So I wasn't really in the back of my head where like I have to win this because every fight's like that for me. You know, every fight's the biggest fight.
Yeah,
the next one's the biggest fight.
Right. The next ring is my favorite ring.
Exactly. That's really it, you know? It's like, oh, this is my biggest one. Then you have another one. But you're always nervous. And, like, the higher level fighters, I feel like they're starting to talk about it more because they know everybody feels like that. But I feel like some guys trying to hide it. But, dude, every time I'm scared shitless. Like, in the back room, you're nervous. You're scared. Your mind is messing with you, like, telling you things you shouldn't be thinking. Like, I'm about to go fight, and you're thinking all these things. Like, what if I lose? What if that? What if this? You know, it's that battle, you know? But at the same time, it's the weirdest. It's hard to explain. At the same time, though, it's like when you feel the most alive. Like, you're not worried about anything else. You're really about to go pretty much the closest you can to death. You know, like you're about to go fight someone. So it's like that's all that's on your mind. Once you get in there, they say fight. It's like everything's out the window, and you train for this moment. That's what you're gonna do. Just let your instincts take over, and that's what you're doing. So the nerves are there. You're scared. You're thinking about a lot of things. That's the battle. You gotta get through it, and then fight to get in there. And then when you're in there, now you have the real fight.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a battle before the actual battle. It's with yourself, and then you're able to overcome that.
Yeah.
You can, that's when the training, the preparation, all that kind of takes over. I gotta ask you something. How many times have you rewatched that flying knee that you hit him with to KO him ultimately?
Yeah. When it first happened, I always watch my fights over and over. I watched a decent amount, but that one I don't like to watch too much. The only reason I see it so much because like everybody shares it and reposts it over and over.
I watched it. I want to say like no less than 40 times. I'm like, dude, wait, did he get him like on the side of like on the temple? Like I was like trying to like analyze the entire thing, and then the guy, the narrator, the commentator, he had a great call where he's like, "Oh, like down goes Danny!" Like it was sick. It was sick. Honestly, I would like. That would be my ringtone if I was you. Like anytime someone calls me, it'd just be like, "Oh, down goes," like whatever. But yeah, you can't like. I think that's where I'm gonna compare myself to you, right? Like I would like dwell on that and like live that moment forever. But you like in your career, what you do, I think you analyze more what you didn't do right that fight, right? More than what you did do right. So walk us through that because I did watch the beginning of that, and again, I'm very much a casual. But I can kind of tell he kind of had you like against the cage a bit, and you were kind of like getting him, at a moment. But it kind of looked like things weren't going anywhere really, and then all of a sudden, like flip of a switch, you were able to really capitalize on him.
Yeah, no, so we knew what his game plan most likely was. He never really knows you're in there, but we see his fights. He's a pressure fighter. He likes to take down pressure, all that. I knew he was gonna be strong. Like Danny's a really strong human being. Like. Once he clinched me, I'm like, I know you're strong. See how strong you are. He grabbed me. I was like, yeah, you're strong for sure. But we were working those things, like reversing off the cage, getting him off, all that. And up to that point, not a lot of people have seen my strike. And even now, like, yeah, I got a flying knee knockout, but like I can do so much more than that. Like it was just a quick thing that happened because of what he was giving me, right? But at the beginning, yeah, I had to kind of figure him out, little things. I seen his elbows, his arms are really high up, so that's why I was throwing the body kick, right? And then I noticed obviously he started catching the kicks, and as he was doing that, he started leaning more so to that side, right? So knowing he's a wrestler, knowing he's trying to catch kicks, most likely I jump at the person, they're probably going to try and go for a takedown. That's just their natural instincts.
Yeah.
Right? And I throw that knee all the time in training. And in my head, for a reason, I threw that spin back fist. We kind of broke for a second, and I'm in my head I almost don't think about it. My body almost tells me, throw the knee.
Just go. Just do it.
Throw it. And I threw it as hard as I could when I jumped up. It landed. I had like a clinch on the way down. And I was like, no matter what, if it lands or not, if he goes down or not, hold that clinch, keep going. As he falls, I just go with him and then obviously finish the fight. But yeah, it was a good fight. There's definitely things I did wrong, could have done better, but obviously we keep improving on those, and that's with every fight.
I kind of wanted to ask you, right? Because even just like now talking to you, right? I kind of watched some of your interviews and stuff. And I think what more amazed me was that I'm older than you. I'm like 4 years older than you. And just the way I think that you carry yourself, like you don't seem like how a regular. You're 23, right?
Yeah, 23. Yeah.
And you're turning 24 soon, I think.
Sunday,
right?
yeah. Sunday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I didn't want to sound creepy.
Yeah.
Like your birthday's on Sunday, you know? Because I saw like May 26th. I'm like, oh shit, he's about to turn 24. But so yeah, so it kind of like, I guess like amazes me the way that you carry yourself, you know? And it's not even like an arrogance. It's more like you're very humble, right? Yeah. And obviously you've accomplished a lot. I saw like some of your rankings. I think they're accurate. I don't know if I was like on a Duke website, but you're like number 1 in the flyweight division in the Midwest. Yeah, in the state of Wisconsin. You're like number 10 out of 482. Yeah, in the U.S. Like that's so impressive. And like I said, it's like you don't have this arrogance about you. You're very like humble, very like even mannered and stuff. And it's just like crazy because a lot of people that are up there, you know, and doing the things that you're doing necessarily wouldn't be that way. So I guess I don't know if I really like if there's a question attached to that. It's more just like, have you always been that way? Like it's just who you are, or like, you know, obviously like who you grew up around with. Like what is it that molds, I guess, that inner you?
I'm sure my parents have things to do with it. Who I grew up around. I was always a shy kid, you know, and then growing up in the gym, like around, you know, good influences like Ben and things. I'm sure that all had an impact. And like, I don't know, I'm obviously more confident in myself, right? But I know there are guys out there better than me. Now that's what I'm chasing. I'm chasing me better than them. Right. And that's kind of things people don't see behind the scenes. But it just humbles me, you know. Like I always know there's gonna be somebody better. Yes, I'm trying to be the best, but I always sets like a goal in my head, right? This guy's better. Let's get to the point where we can beat him, you know. But outside like training, fighting, you know, just personality in general, it's like, what's the point of being, you know, rude or stuck up? You know, everybody, like for example, we're talking right now. I don't know what you have going on outside of this, you know. Like, why am I gonna make your day tougher by being rude? I seen this quote today actually. It's like, there aren't that many nice people in the world. If you can't find one, why not be one? You know. Mm-hmm. So like, I try to do the most I can to be a good person, you know. And even then, like sometimes I find myself like, it's not doing terrible things, but like, oh, I could have been a better friend here. I could have done that, you know. But it's like, I try my best to be humble. I feel like it naturally kind of happens, but I don't see any point. I'm just a normal human being too. I'm just chasing my dreams, doing what I like to do. You know, you're doing the same thing. You know, you're doing your podcast, all that. It's one day you're gonna be big. You know, like it doesn't mean you're gonna get arrogant. It's just who you are. We're all human beings doing our own thing in this world. It's really all it is.
Yeah, and that's crazy because, like you said, you are kind of like more on the chill side. Like you're kind of like very like, you know, even mannered and stuff. But after your wins, I do kind of see you like that's when you like really like come out of your shell a bit and you're like, yeah, like, you know, let's go and stuff and celebrate and stuff. And I do think that I guess you do use this as a form of like, okay, this is, I wouldn't say therapy, but this is kind of how you go about like being and finding and being able to really express who you are in a way, you know. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, it's like really impressive, like the things that you're doing. And you mentioned Ben, right? Yeah. So you've known him then since you started here. You said you were 9?
12, yeah.
Oh, you were 12.
now as I was watching WWE, 10 and 11 was like when I kind of started finding out MMA was. And even then, it was kind of newer. You know,
Okay.
even in like 2010, 11, it was growing, but it wasn't what it is today.
No, not at all. So you met Ben, and he's been like, what would you consider him, like your trainer, manager,
Right
kind of like?
now, friend, like everything. Like he's my coach. He doesn't let me call him that, but he's my coach. He's my manager. He's my friend. You know, like Uncle Ben. You know, like he's the guy. You know, he's the one that's behind everything. You know, if I need something or I need to talk about something or anything in my career, he has my back. You know, like we were going through this thing where obviously I'm making one, right, and like everybody is saying Contender Series, which if you know what that is, it's Dana White Contender Series. You go in there, you fight, you win, you get a UFC contract. They're like the guy that I'm working with, kind of like my manager in a way, where he was like, "Go on it. This is the next step. We gotta do this." Obviously, everybody else on the outside was telling me to do it, and Ben, the realest one, sat down and was like, "I think we should take our time. You're only about to be 24. Let's get 2 more fights, 10-1. So now we're going to UFC. We're going in as they want us. We don't want them, kind of thing. You know, like make it where they can't deny it. So things like that. You know, like he always has my best interest. You know, I can trust him. He's not. There's so many people, especially in this sport, that are just trying to backstab you, like just because they're looking out for themselves. You know, Ben doesn't care. He says it like everything he's doing right now, he's trying to do it to benefit me. You know, so yeah, since I was 12, you know, he's had my back. Everybody sees like big, scary, mean dude, but really he's so humble and nice and really cares about the people that are close to him.
Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool that you mentioned that he has your best interest in mind, and so you're thinking. I mean, obviously, like things can change, like whatever. But so you've got your eye, like let's go UFC, like let's eventually get there. Obviously, like that's where you have your sights set. You mentioned maybe 10-1, like somewhere around there, and you told me you don't have like your next fight kind of lined up yet. But is there something coming up in the works, like that we can look out for, that we can expect, like an announcement sometime soon? You know what, man? I gotta go out there. I gotta go watch, like wherever it's at. Like, I mean, if it's like nearby in the Midwest somewhere, I for sure gotta get out there.
There's something in the works.
I just invited myself.
No, it's cool, man. APFC has a show actually this weekend, which I'm going to watch all the fights. Obviously, really good fights. And then they have a show. I can't say the day or anything, but they have a show coming up. So I'm sure the next couple weeks, maybe a month at most, I'll be making an announcement, and it will be close by. So for sure, bring everybody again. Like I always try and bring a lot of people, get the crowd loud. It's really fun that way.
Yeah, for sure. They have something going on this weekend though, right? In Milwaukee. Is it in Milwaukee?
Yep.
Are you gonna be there or?
Yeah, I'm sitting cage side actually to watch the fights. They have I think like 20 fights, and all of them are solid. It's gonna be a good night.
Yeah, is anyone from here fighting? That's...
No. We were gonna have one guy on, and it fell through. But as of now, nobody's on it.
Okay, but they're gonna have like a bunch of fights, right? Like 20 plus fights.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Do you like? Honestly, I don't know. Like, do you go to those fights? Do you try to go as a fan, or do you try to go like as like not a contender, but like a fighter? So you're like looking at these guys like, oh, like they're doing this or they're doing that. Is it just inevitable for you? Like or can you literally sit down, just enjoy it, and not have to kind of analyze things as you're watching?
So any people fighting that night aren't necessarily contenders at this point in their career. Like I always watch every flyweight fight, no matter what, amateur, pro. I kind of just watch to see what the futures are, who I could potentially fight. You know, so I'm sure when those fights, not that I'll fight those guys anytime soon, but I'm still gonna watch them because at 125 I could fight them eventually. You know, so that I can't really control because it's just kind of natural. But it is nice, especially when I don't have to corner or fight, just sometimes to go and just sit and enjoy the fights. You know, like the pressure's off me. I can just watch all these guys and watch their skill sets. So I'm also going to be like watching fights, analyzing, doing things. But it's nice to just sit down, enjoy the fights, and just hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I bet. So this weekend, then you think you're going to be able to kind of like chill out, watch a little bit of that. I meant to touch on this earlier because you keep mentioning it, the whole WWE thing. Do you still watch WWE, or you're kind of like over that? That was something when you were a kid, really?
Yeah, I don't really watch it. Like, I sometimes hear people talk about it, and like they say all these names. I have no idea who they are anymore.
Yeah, a bunch of different guys.
Some of the old school guys still there. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him, but no, I don't really keep up with it anymore.
Yeah, people always come back. I think that's like their thing. They'll bring back like some of the OGs and stuff to kind of get like the crowd like going and stuff. So who was like your guy back then when you were watching?
Jeff Hardy was my number one.
Oh, really? Hardy Boys?
Yep.
Oh, man, dude. Jeff Hardy. Yeah, I mean, I remember that was like RVD and stuff like that, like all those high flyers.
Yeah.
What kind of like attracted you to Jeff Hardy, you think?
I think it's just the craziness, just like all like I like the style one, but like always, his flips and everything he was doing. I don't know. It was just because that's what I'd be trying in my basement. Like that's really cool. It just looked cool, And many kids are like, I want to try that. It just attracted me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Speaking of styles, what about what would you consider your style to be? I think I don't know if it was on camera if we were rolling, but you kind of said that there's like more things to you that you want people to see, and obviously like your skill set is kind of like a multitude of things. What would you consider though, like your style to be?
I think so. If you look at my record, right? If you don't look at my fights or anything, look at my record. Jiu-jitsu is the first thing that pops up. I have 8 wins. I have 7 finishes. 6 of those are submissions. Right. So you see the submissions. He's a grappler. That's where I start. That's where I do feel confident. I do feel comfortable. But my striking, obviously, the flying knee is kind of a small statement to that. My striking is good and keeps getting better. My wrestling's always improving. But how I like to see myself as and how I want other people to see me, right, is my style. Is more so just constantly looking for the finish. That's my style. Like you say, oh, what's your style? You're a grappler, striker, whatever. I say I'm just looking for the finish. If you watch my fights, I'm on bottom, I'm elbowing you in the face, throwing up submissions. If I'm on top, I'm punching you, looking to choke you. If we're on the feet, I'm looking to knock you out. I'm always looking for the finish. I don't like decisions. I always say too, I don't like sitting on the stool. If I can finish your first round, finish your first round. I don't want to see that stool. Now, if it happens, sure, but my goal is always to finish the first round, get over with, and just do as much damage as I can in that 15 minutes.
So obviously, like, you read your opponents, you kind of see where the fight is going, and then based off that, you're like, okay, I'm going to do it in a certain way, like compared to, whatever. But so that is interesting that you mentioned that 6 of them have been submissions. Yeah. One of them obviously was that flying knee, and then your loss was decision, and another one of your wins was decision. Yeah. So if you're 50-50 there, I can see why you don't like having to wait it out, and then it's basically out of your hands. It's however they watch the fight. I tried to find the fight of you losing, like the decision one, but I couldn't. So walk me through that. How do you think you were doing, or where do you think you could improve, like in those areas, or what did you really grasp from that fight that is helping you even now?
Yeah. So one thing was kind of mentality in a way going there. I almost felt it in my last fight, and I had it was good because I had that experience. It's little things like that. That's the difference is just the experience. But when I was in there, I was almost too relaxed, right? Like I was looking at the crowd, seeing people. Like Gilbert Melendez was like commentating, oh, that's Gilbert Melendez. Kind of just like talking to myself, like, you shouldn't be like that. Like you're about to go fight someone. You need to be serious and focused. So that was number one. Right? I had to fix that. I think I was just almost overly confident. Like I was expected to win, and that was what I expected myself. Instead of like I need to earn this. So I think that's number one. Number 2 was obviously my strength that I was talking about earlier. It's when I was in there, he felt so much stronger, and I just felt weak. Yes, I picked him up, took him down, but like my strength wasn't efficient throughout the whole fight. And technical things too, right? There's things he did that are really technically good. There's a lot of things that I did that were really bad too, So he's a good fighter. He's 7-1 now, close to UFC as well. But there's a lot of things on my side I feel like I did wrong that I could have done better. So there's a lot of technique things, mental and strength. Like that's all the things I had to go back and readjust and focus on and really fix. And the technique aspect, you're working on every single day. That's what the sport is, right? But since I made those adjustments, I feel like you've seen throughout the fights, I've made dramatic changes, and I'm getting that much better every training camp.
Okay, so a lot of the prep you think is like what changed, and a lot of stuff like that. 100%. What would you say is like your pre-fight? Do you have like a routine? Like, is there something specific, like something strange maybe that is just like I got to do this, man? Like before I go out there. Yeah. Do you have any of those things?
Ben doesn't like the superstition stuff, but I do. Not really. It's more of a routine. I always get haircuts. It's kind of like my relax. So like when you're that close to a fight, because I get like 3 days for my fight, 2 days for my fight, you're cutting weight. So like everything sucks, you know? So I just try and keep myself busy doing something, everything. because you're hungry, you know, you're about to fight, you're crabby. So I just try and keep my mind busy. But one weird thing, I actually only told a couple people this. One thing I do is, especially if we're in like hotel room, I always do something weird. Like for example, if I see like, I don't know, a quarter on the ground, I'll pick it up and I'll put it somewhere where it doesn't belong. So I take the quarter, I'll put it on like the top of this lamp, right? And then it just kind of, in my mind, it's the weirdest thing. It's like, this is like a big thing in your life. Like this moment matters, but at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't really matter, you know? So like, you're so stressed, so focused on this fight, everything's going on, and that resembles when I get done with the fight, especially when I win. I walk in the hotel room. First thing I do is just move that, say, quarter off, and it's like your life is kind of back to normal now. You know, like I moved that quarter down, and it's just like something that is so small, so dumb in the moment to put that up there, but it seems like a lot because now you know after the fight you get to like set that down. And now it's kind of like you get to relax. It's just little things like that.
Yeah,
I've been doing them my last couple of fights. It's weird, but like I almost look forward to doing that because that's kind of like the end piece to this moment, you know.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's almost like, oh shit, damn. It's almost like you're flipping a switch, you know, like, okay, like here we go. Yeah. Like now it's like I'm in it, whatever. And yeah, I think it's so weird because your mind does work in a weird way. Like everyone's works in a weird way differently, whether like it's good or bad. If that works for you, that's crazy, you know. Yeah. And I think a lot of the things you said, and I think it just kind of applies to the kind of, you know, athlete that you have to be. A lot of the things you said throughout the interview, I feel like are things that are very like, I don't know, like not weird or strange, but it's like, dude, like that's the mind of a fighter. Like that's the mentality of a fighter. Something that an everyday, you know, guy just doesn't, or girl just doesn't have, you know. And I don't know. That is cool though that you say that, and I hope now that like everyone heard you, it doesn't like backfire on you and shit. You know, like
it's kind of like that superstition thing. Like I used to do things like that, like not talk about fights, like or this and that, and like I'm still gonna do it, but I'm trying to get over that to have the full confidence on myself, right?
Yeah,
like no matter what happens, I'm still confident I'm gonna win, right? Like everything can be going wrong. Kind of like my last fight, that's how it felt. Like everything is going wrong, but I still went there and got the job done, you know? So I just need to keep that confidence on myself.
Yeah. Your last fight, everything was going wrong, like in the ring, you mean?
Everything leading up to the fight.
Or in the octagon?
Yeah. So the weight cut was probably the best thing, which is weird. The weight cut was probably my best weight cut. But actually, 8 weeks before that fight, I had 2 partial tears in my knee. So I tore my LCL, partial tear, and then it's like papillitis, something like that, the tendon back here. I had 2 partial tears, and of course, because that happened, my knee was shifted. So it was like, for 4 weeks, really 5 weeks, I couldn't do much. I was hitting pads, swimming, doing the bike, and like I said before, kind of all like circles. I get my confidence from training. So mentally doing that, I didn't feel like I was prepared for the fight, you know? I had really 2-3 weeks to actually prepare for this fight. And like, we weren't even sure if we were going to go through with it because my knee was torn, right? But I told Ben, like, I need this fight. I want to do this fight. Like, fighting, it's a lot of fighters say this, and like after it's over, it's like you don't know what to do now. But fighting gives me purpose, you know. Like when I'm not in fight camp, I'm not in really a routine. I almost get like depressed in a way, you know, because like it gives you purpose. You wake up every day, you have this one goal in mind. You know, you got to do this, that, and the other, and that's how it is. So like if I didn't have that fight, like I know mentally it would have been tougher for me than for me just to push through and figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
You know? So with that leading up to the whole knee, I had 3 weeks trained for the fight, and then I was obviously nervous about my weight because I'm not working out as much as I should, you know. And then just mentally back in my head, like, am I ready for this fight? Should I really be doing this if my knee blows out? What if my cardio is bad? You know, like things like that. It's just mentally I didn't feel right where I normally am in the fight. And the only thing that was good was the weight cut again, but just it felt like everything was going wrong in camp.
How do you feel right now then that you're not really in camp?
So I have a date that I know that I can't say.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
I'm kind of in camp. So with me, like I said, like if I'm not in camp, I get like in this weird mental state, you know? I can't really, I guess, say depression, but that's kind of what it feels like. Everything just feels dark and like meaningless.
Yeah, like there's no purpose
exactly.
behind. Yeah.
So I get in a weird state. So I kind of have to like, I do longer camps in a way. But now Ben has it under control because I used to do like 12, 14-week camps, and usually camps are like 8-10 weeks for most people.
Yeah.
And that'd be to the point where I'm like overtraining, you know? So now what I do is I do like a pre-camp where I'm still training hard, so I do have to do, but I kind of like have fun with it. You know, I pick my sessions, you know, like I can do this if I want to, but it's not necessary, you know? It's more skill-based, more technique stuff, not so much like grind, you know? And that I get in a routine that way, and it makes me mentally kind of feel okay enough to like, okay, I'm fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, you know? So I do that because, again, 12, 14 weeks is kind of what I do just because I need that. Obviously, if like I fight back to back, it's almost better for me because sometimes like I fight and then I have like 10 and 12 weeks for the next fight. It's like, okay, that's fine. Because the hardest part for me is to like take time off, you know, like to go on vacations and do stuff, which I'm so mentally and like physically into this sport that I feel like I take a lot away from like everybody else in my life, you know, like my girlfriend, my friends, my family. So after my fight, especially my last like 3, I've been really trying to just, okay, give them a week, 2 weeks, sometimes go a little bit more to kind of just do things with them, you know?
Yeah.
And like
Try to unplug from all this.
exactly. And just, I still train because I need that. Like if I don't do that, I'm not going to be mentally right. So I need that. But I try to balance it a little bit more than what I was before. And I still feel like it's not enough, you know, but I try to do my best because like a lot of people don't understand that, like, they're like, oh, you can rest. But I feel that's like demons talking back in my head, like, oh, you can rest. But now I know in my head, somebody else is doing more than me. So it's just, it's always on a constant, like, a fight with myself mentally, you know, with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, breaks for me, I try to do, because like, I can't always eat either, like pizza and ice cream. So I try and take the time, especially for my girlfriend, like, oh, we can go out to this restaurant, try this, do that. But yeah, it's tough taking breaks. But when I'm in camp, dude, just everything feels like it rolls. Yeah.
I kind of want to piggyback off that, and I guess, was there like a moment, like a time when, like, for you, when you're, or was it from the very beginning that you're like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I want to like become the next like UFC champion or what have you? When did you really start to realize, like, dude, this is something that I could actually do? I love it, and it's like all I can think about. And like now, the way you're talking about it, it's like you're really dialed in. You know what I mean? Was there like a moment, or when was that occurred?
So when I started, I kind of had that mentality already when I started. Like the first day when I tried out, I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. I just want to train as much as I can, you know? And then I feel like I just trained so much that I got really good really quick at a younger age, you know? Because like I was competing in jiu-jitsu still, so that's kind of test myself, was competing in grappling tournaments. And like I was beating a lot of guys that were higher level, like around this area, you know? And sometimes I would lose, sometimes I'd beat them, you know? So I knew I was good. I was better than most. And then like Ben and the people here just kept encouraging me, you know, like, you're good, keep coming, keep doing this thing. And like they almost like talked into me where I got confident and believed in myself that I could really do this, you know. And then like I didn't have really a normal childhood because like from age 12, I didn't miss a day. Like maybe if I was sick or something, maybe. But I would count like from 12 to like 17, I didn't miss a day of training Monday through Saturday, you know? Like I was always here. I was always doing what I need to do. Like the only thing I went to for high school was prom, and that's because I started dating my girlfriend. Kind of like, because she at least deserves that, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't go out. I didn't party. I didn't do this or that. In the summers, I couldn't drive at that age, so I'd leave from Zion. I'd ride my bike all the way here, come and train. My mom would pick me up at night, mom or dad, and that was kind of my summers. You know, I just ride my bike here, spend it here, train. That was every summer for like 5 summers straight. Because I knew I had potential, and I just needed to do everything in my power I could to make sure I made something of myself, and this is what I wanted to be, and I just kept chasing that dream.
Damn, that's crazy, man. To train 6 days a week for like 5 years straight.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could see like when that's like all you've ever really known or like loved, it's kind of hard to dial it back. Like how you're mentioning, like, oh, sometimes after a win or a loss or whatever, I have to really like give everyone else, you know, my time. But I can see why that'd be so difficult, is because you're just so dialed in, you know, it's just all you've ever known. So yeah, like you said, that's not a normal childhood, I don't think. I mean, and while people were out and doing stuff like partying and stuff, was there ever a moment like at all where you were kind of like almost influenced, but you're like, nah, like I can't do this? Like what was that kept you, I guess, from away from all that?
I I don't know. I think it was just I wanted to be the best. I think that was all it was.
That's a fire quote. That's a fire quote. I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip that.
I just want. I think that's really what it was. Like, I remember I tried to like go to one like house party. There's a couple people there, and like I think I was there for like 30 minutes. I'm like, this is dumb. It's a waste of my time. Like I didn't. It was at night, so I didn't necessarily have training. It was like a Saturday night, and like even sitting there, I was like, this is literally a waste of my time. Like, not that I could be training, but I could be doing something else, stretching, watching footage, something else besides like sitting here, socializing, drinking. Like, it was just dumb to me, like even to this day, like nothing against people that drink, but I don't drink or anything like that. Like, it just doesn't take my interest, is all.
Yeah.
And like, it's just everything I do in my daily life, it's pretty much somehow, some way reels back to training. Like how I eat. When I'm eating, I'm watching fights, like everything I do is just fighting. And it gets annoying to some people, sometimes it's too much. They say you do too much, but to me, it's like, this is what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just my lifestyle. It's just, I always, like I said, I always wanted to be the best. And that's what I'm trying to do till this day.
Who do you? Because I know he's dying to know. Who do you like? Who would you say you model your like style after? The way that you fight. Maybe growing up, you looked up to somebody, or even now.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel like it's always kind of changing. When I was growing up, like Habib, he was the guy. And I was more of a grappler. His wrestling pressure, all of that. But it's like as I've evolved, I find myself just more active in trying to attack. So really something that I really watch and I want to be more like is like Charles Oliveira, like where he's constantly pressured, even like he gets dropped, but he kind of does that to Paul Garber. Like even gets dropped, he's attacking pressure. That's where I kind of am trying to get more my style too. Again, I'm my own fighter. I feel like I'm making my own mold, but like if I had to say somebody, I think Charles Oliveira is kind of like fits my style of like constantly throwing, constantly trying to pressure, constantly look for submissions.
Cool. Well, we're on the topic of like all these guys. How did you feel when Dustin Poirier was the one that like put the belt on you after the win? Did it make it just a little bit sweeter, or had you met him before, maybe prior or something?
No, I don't know. I'm kind of weird about those things. Like I feel like it's a bigger deal for like my friends and family.
Yeah, your family. I bet.
To,
yeah.
Like, see that. And for me, I guess it's a bigger deal for like, how would I say it? Like to get noticed more. Like, yeah, that's Dustin Poirier putting the belt on him, But for me, like I feel the same how I feel about myself is like he's another human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to get to the point he's at, so I have respect for him. But I see myself being able to get to that point, so I'm not gonna like treat him any differently.
Yeah.
Like, I have respect for everybody. Obviously,
yeah, that's a good mindset to have, though.
It's like I don't want to like look up to these guys so much where I praise them, because
Mm-hmm.
like now you're almost like looking down yourself. You got to realize you're a human being too. You are capable of the same thing he's capable of. Like
Mm-hmm.
I respect his accomplishments, but I'm not going to like praise him in that kind of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, kind of how your mind can like play tricks on you and stuff like that. I think that is a good mindset to have, because in your mind you're just telling yourself everything that you just said. And that's kind of what will elevate you to the next level, because you already have that mentality. Yeah. You're right. If you praise somebody too much, I think you are looking down on yourself, because you're thinking like, I'm never going to be in those shoes, or I'm never going to be at that level. So yeah, no, that's true. Does it like feel like, I don't know, like does it feel different now than I guess when you were starting up? Like the way that like your mentality is different, like stuff like that. Like, were you seeing it differently like before, or has it always kind of been that way?
I've always, like I said, I've always had the mentality of like trying to be the best. I've always had that. But in the last couple fights, like especially with the flying knee, actually that's kind of when everything kind of like opened up, and like people started to kind of more believe I can be something and do something, and like people behind me, like my coaches and friends and family, already knew what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And they backed me. But I feel like that's the moment when like eyes kind of opened.
Yeah.
And it's felt kind of weird, and like I have to get used to like, talking to people more like this, like doing podcasts, interviews in that way. Because again, I'm not, the only time I feel comfortable is talking about fighting. That's why I'm so comfortable right now, because I'm so confident in it. But if we were about to talk about anything else, like even video games or a different sport, like I probably wouldn't say much because I just don't have that knowledge, you know. But like, there's things I have to definitely get used to, and it's cool because like, again, I'm not that big yet, you know. Like I try to be as humble as possible, and like when I go to like Walmart and Zion, like you know, obviously people will follow me on Instagram, see me, like they say hi and what's up. And I don't necessarily know who they are, and it almost like that's where I start feeling awkward because they are confident enough to come up to me and like say something, and I don't really know what to say back or how to treat them because like it's cool to me, like oh you're like confident enough to like say something, say what's up, you know, like they say congrats, whatever it is, and like I don't want them to see me necessarily as like this crazy person doing like crazy things. Like I just want them to see me as a person, you know. It's just weird to me because like growing up, I didn't have like friends like that. So it's like, all right, this random person that I don't necessarily know is kind of just saying things to me, and I gotta respect them, which I do. But it's a weird feeling, you know. And that doesn't happen that often. But when it does, it's like I feel like I owe them something now because they're following me.
Yeah, and they're like so nice to you and stuff like that. I do think it's weird, and you mentioned like how like it opened up for you, right? Like, but your friends, your family, obviously, everyone here knew what you had to offer and the type of fighter that you were, and probably the mentality that you have. But it's just weird how like I guess as a society, like something like that has to happen, you know, for everyone to start like because you even said it, you spoke to it a bit earlier how people like to see like the striking, you know, like they don't necessarily like to see like you know he like grappled him and like or like it was a very defensive like fight or whatever. It's just we just want to see someone go down. We want to see the guy like you know hit the other guy. So it is crazy for you too because you had to go through that where it's like how come now everyone's like paying attention to me, like how am I any different? But it's just you had that moment and that's kind of what it was. And I don't know. I think, like I said, you're doing a great job just kind of remaining humble. And I mean, obviously, like, I think as you keep going on, that's going to progress. And I don't know, man. It's something you're going to have to get used to, you know? I guess you can't hit a Zion Walmart anymore, you know?
No, it's weird. It almost humbles me again, you know? Like, it happens every now and then. And it's a cool. I do cherish those moments, but then I feel like I overthink them at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I say what's up and we kind of have the exchange, and I finish what I'm doing, go to the car, and I kind of sit there, like,
was I like nice and all?
Like, did I ask him what his name was or what her name was? Like, could I say something different to like show that I respect them and thank them? You know, like I overthink everything. It's like now do they think I'm an asshole? You know?
Yeah. No, that's crazy to think about. But you know what? I mean, it's like with this, like I think training and having those encounters a little bit more is I think gonna help you out a bit, you know, like get used to them because it's not something that everyone just like goes through every day, you know. And I do think people start to see you more as like a damn, like that guy's doing this, you know, and it's like not something that we just can do overnight. So I think it speaks to the fact of how what you're doing is like kind of insane, man. Like, you know, and I commend you for it, honestly, because I didn't know much about you. And I mean, obviously, like we're kind of talking now, and I still kind of don't, obviously, but I can tell you're a good guy. And like what you have going, it's like not like in the training, not in the physical part of it. It's like what you've got up here. I think it's going to take you far, man, for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, but yeah, man, I always feel like I can keep talking for like hours and hours and stuff. But you know, then I feel like, man, like the guest like is trying to get out of here and stuff. So, but yeah, man, definitely, I think we should like link up, man. Like in the future, like I really want to go to that fight, like that next fight that you're gonna have. So I'll be on the lookout for sure on the next date and kind of like following up with what you're doing and stuff.
Make it happen.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Do you like obviously you can't say it, but do you kind of have a sense of who you're gonna like fight or?
No, they said they're looking at some guys, but they haven't sent me anything yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sure that next couple weeks, maybe a month at most, like I said, I'll have an announcement.
And I'm sure you hate that because like you could prepare like training and stuff, but you can't really like research the other guy yet. You can't do your homework and stuff on him yet, right? So
yeah, it's like so I train, and it's nice sometimes to train without an opponent, but once you get that contract and the name, it's kind of like you're locked in. You know, it's like all you think about before you go to sleep. When you wake up, it's just constant. That's who you think about. And like then when it's over, it's relaxing, right? Because at 10, 12 weeks of dealing with that, now you can relax. But yeah, once you sign that contract, it's just you're locked in from that point on.
Actually, let me ask you one last thing. what is that process like, kind of like booking a fight, like I know we see like, oh, like they agreed to fight and there's obviously a contract and stuff, but like more so like you being the fighter, like what do you go through, I guess, that like if you could peel the curtain open for us a little bit, like what do we not know that's like, goes down in the process of a fight?
I don't think it's anything crazy necessarily, at least not to me. It's so you usually have a manager, especially at this level, you should have some kind of manager. At this point, it's really Ben, and he's probably the best manager I could have right now because obviously he has 40 some, I think 50 fights, MMA fights, and like 20 of them in the UFC. Now he's doing bare knuckles, so he's been around, so he knows when people are like what their intentions are. They may say one thing, but they really mean something else. So they kind of at this point now, since I'm champion, what they do is kind of like give us some names, like, and then me and Ben kind of go over them and decide, okay, let's just fight this guy, let's take this guy, and then from there, it's like sometimes it's up and down because that guy might say yes, he says no, then now we got to find someone else, Usually though, at this level, they especially fight APFC for a belt, it's like they say yes right away,
right?
So they sign the contract, and then from there they just send the contract, and it kind of gets exciting when they start announcing it, because now you have a goal to work towards. But that's really all it is they just kind of send you names, or maybe even send you one name, and now that's who you're fighting. You can't really say no. That was my first 2 fights. They sent me Dan. It's like you can't really just say no to his opportunity.
You had no say at that point, obviously. Yeah.
And that's how UFC is when you get there. Like you say no, okay, then you don't deserve to be here. Like. So there's nothing really crazy. Just you sign the contract. Now it's locked in, and now you got 10 weeks till you go to war. That's really what it is. And like,
is it usually 10 weeks then that you get to?
Sometimes.
Well, you said you had like 3 the other time because of what was going on with you, like physically. Right?
Like usually APFC's been doing good. They usually give me like 12 weeks notice kind of thing. Sometimes 10, but they do really good. Some promotions give you like a couple weeks, So it all depends. But I think the biggest thing is people don't see what you do behind closed doors, like training wise. Like they see you win and they think, oh, that was easy, like that's the biggest thing. Is like everybody sees me finishing these guys and like, oh, that's really easy. He makes it easy, or whatever they want to think and say. But it's like the years and years and years behind all this I put in, like I was 14 on Fight Team getting beat up by 25-year-olds just trying to survive, like people don't see that or know that, there's a lot of things like they see the point I'm at right now because maybe they just started following a month ago, but they don't see the last 10 years, 12 years of what I've been doing, So it's like people can say things, think things, and judge whether it's good or bad what I'm doing, but I know what I'm focused on, I know what I'm doing, and I'm just happy are finally starting to see it and respect it. And I just hope I can keep building that fan base and just making opportunities for myself. But yeah, I just hope people understand, like, it's not just the win. There's a lot that goes behind it.
Did you ever have moments like coming up where you're like not necessarily going to hang it up, but you just go home and you just beat yourself up over something and you're like, man, like I'm not going to do this, this is it. Did you go, I'm sure you went through a lot of those moments.
Multiple. There was times where I just didn't feel like training, or there was times like, oh, I got to spar today. And again, I was 14, 15. These guys, some of them are professional fighters, and they're like 25, 30 years old. And I just really dealt with it. That's all it was. I knew that's the biggest thing. I'm not the most athletic. I might not be the most talented, all these things. But what I do, and I tell everybody this, just keep showing up. If you keep showing up, there's no way you're not getting any better, I think that's my biggest thing is I always show up to my training sessions when I have it planned. I show up, I make sure I go no matter how I'm feeling, and I get better, And I think that's my biggest thing I have, my biggest attribute is I always show up to what I need to show up to.
Be consistent. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it takes. And from what you tell me, dude, like you've probably been one of the most consistent guys at it, which is like insane, dude. But yeah, man, I really honestly, like, for real, like, I want to thank you for like doing this, I really appreciate it. And I really hope the people, like, obviously, like, you've already captured a big, audience and caught people's eyes and stuff in what you do, but hopefully this little crossover will be, kind of cool and stuff. And maybe like now you can't go to, Zion Walmart at all, like maybe you get off the car in the parking lot and it's already like, man, Cody. Also, Dude, you have such a sick nickname. Just because it derives from your name. Like I feel like those are the best nicknames. The other ones that you force that you make up, you know, it's some random word. But the code breaker for Cody is just like, yeah. I was telling him, I'm like, man, we should have some section, a segment on the show, like breaking the code with the code breaker, right? Something like that. I was like, man, I could have had like some like fire rapid questions or something, and like, yeah, it was too late though at that point.
That's sick though. That's awesome.
But yeah, man, thank you for coming on, and you know, hopefully, you know, in the future we can like link up. I could like go to that fight or whatever, go show some support, and yeah, man, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And you I always forget to say like to tell them and shit, like hit the like button, subscribe button, like, you know, share this, you know, comment, you know, all that good stuff. And you know, give my guy Cody a follow while you're at it. So yeah, man, appreciate you.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's it. Huh? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm still down, dude. Oh, dude, I can't even lie. I forgot about that, dude. Fuck. Yeah. Let me just turn this off and so I can put it on that too. Fuck, man. I'm ready though.
Don't flinch. That's the biggest thing.
Like,
right?
don't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So try to. So I'm not gonna kick you.
All right.
So what I would do is stand in like almost just a base, right?
Okay.
And try to. Don't necessarily flex, but get heavier on this leg, right? Because if you're loose, I'm gonna kick your leg out, and that's just gonna make it worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just
kind of pull like
a little bit, a little
yeah.
bit. Not too much to where your knee's gonna twist, but kind of just stay loose. So,
Fuck.
right? Yeah, I'm gonna go hard. This is gonna feel more like try-reverse, but this, if I do that, you're gonna feel that for days for sure. That one is gonna be, well, we'll see. You still might feel days. How far do you actually want to go?
Yeah, like hard enough that it'll hurt,
Okay.
but not hard where like.
Fuck him up.
I gotta get out of here in crutches, you know.
Okay.
But I want it to hurt though.
Okay.
Like,
We have to do a second one.
No, I don't know about that. I didn't sign up for that.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Whenever you're ready.
Fuck. I mean, I'm not gonna be ready.
I would keep your hands up just so I'll keep your hands. Like
Okay.
Maybe on your shoulders.
All right.
Something like that.
All right. So I put some weight
Just
on
some.
you.
Yep. And I'm going right there.
Oh my
Got
god,
it?
dude. No lie, dude. That shit hurt even before you hit me.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, fuck.
Maybe 30%.
Ooh. Oh, dude.
That was 30%, bro.
30?
Yeah, probably
What
like
you mean that was 30?
That was probably like 30%.
Oh, dude. You think I could be in the UFC? Holy shit, dude. Hey, I took that. I ate that. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Dude, that hurt, man.
Round
You
two or
get hit
what?
with those just all the time?
Yeah, I mean, in the fight, you have so much adrenaline, you don't really feel it, and also, it usually not super clean either because you're gonna move, you're gonna react to something.
Yeah.
And it's not always 100% either, because like if I throw that 100% at you and I turn my knee or check, you're breaking your leg. So you gotta take that into account too. Like usually throw in 70%. I mean, there's some crazy guys that throw 100, but usually throw in 60, 70. You have adrenaline. It's not always a clean shot. But if they land clean shots at 70, 80%, yeah, no, that sucks.
Do you want to do the other leg to even it out?
Sure.
I'm down.
I kick you harder.
You guys seeing this?
You want me to kick you harder now?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go
That's
on
not
this
my
side.
soccer leg, so
Let me
it's
go on this
fine.
side.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Wait, hold on.
Right there.
Wait, hold on.
Kick it harder now.
Okay. No, wait, hold on.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay, alright, go. Ah! Fuck. Oh my god, that one did hurt more. Dude, oh fuck. Oh my god. Hey, this is probably when I should say, like, you guys should subscribe, like, hit that like button. Holy fuck, dude. You were just playing around on that first one, right?
Yeah, that was 30. I didn't
Oh, dude, what was this
trying to do
one?
enough to make me look. That was maybe 40-ish.
40?
And that's my left leg too. It's not my strong leg.
What you mean 40? God damn, dude. That was awesome, dude. That felt awesome. No lie. Oh, that fucking hurt though, dude. Am I gonna be sore tomorrow, you think?
Maybe a little bit. Again, I was trying to do enough where you weren't dying.
Yeah.
If I went 60, you're definitely you probably would be limping out of here for sure.
Alright, dude. That was not. God damn, dude. I feel it right now.
That's
I
your-
felt, dude, it's weird. You feel like bubbly, like right here. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's like getting kind of hot. Oh fuck, dude.
Let's do one more and record it on my phone so I can put. No.
No. I'll just send you the video, dude. I'll just send it to you. Fuck, dude. All right, my turn.
If you want.
No, dude. No.
But no, like, so this was like, right? That's like 30%.
Uh-huh.
That would have been.
So that would have been like my
that would have been
ACL.
like 8%. Yeah, that would have. Yeah, that would have done something to you.
Fuck, dude. God damn, dude.
Lucky there's a bag.
Now we gotta do a liver shot.
No, dude. I'd be done. Dude, I would be done.
I mean, it's hard to be nice with that. Like, if you actually drop, I gotta put something into it.
Yeah, I know.
It'd just be like get hit in the stomach.
Yeah, I knew like probably with the kick you could
Yeah, the
probably
kick's
like,
definitely the best. Yeah.
yeah, and you could like, you know how to like, yeah.
So you felt.
It's been 3 minutes. How do you feel?
Not any better than I did 3 minutes ago. I'll tell you that. Dude, yeah, I know that first one you didn't try like to really like hurt me. So that's why I'm like, let's do the second one. But it did hurt.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
dude, no, this one. Your turn?
I'll do it. Fuck it.
Yeah?
Yeah, come on. You did,
All right.
You did it.
Okay. All right.